blank. Mr. Unghire?
So I saw a story a little while back here, and it talks about a group of our students, and I'd like to share that with us here this evening. It says here, Best Buddies. Middle school students spread kindness through inclusion. A group of students at JFK Middle School is dedicated to spreading kindness. There are 44 students who are members of the school's Best Buddies chapter. The JFK chapter is the largest one in Enfield and is only about 500 middle school chapters in the country. The 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, advised by special education teachers Amy Santinella, Sarah Simeone, 6th grade teachers Katie Fitzgerald and Samantha Hannigan, and guidance counselor Shannon Kudrick, work together on projects that show kindness and promote their strong belief in inclusion. In honor of Giving Tuesday, the Best Buddies celebrated by giving other students in the school little strips of paper they made with kind sayings on them. While the JFK chapter sometimes works on simple projects like sharing kind sayings and making sure that no one sits alone at lunchtime, other endeavors take more time and effort. The students recently organized a food drive to help the needy at Thanksgiving. They collected 2,619 pounds of food and donated it to the Enfield food shelf in time for the holiday. Santinella said the food drive was entirely the students' idea. The Best Buddies collected the donations outside of the cafeteria for several months and advertised the drive with posters and school announcements called Fill the Boat. The chapter received a handmade boat created by JFK art teacher Lauren, I hope I say your name right, Lauren Vituris, and her third period students to showcase the donations. Santinella said that it was a big hit and that the food drive, and that we have some wonderful families in the community. So I wanted to share that, the good things that this group is doing over at JFK Middle School. And when I read this about putting kind things on a piece of paper, it reminded me of a story that ran in Reader's Digest many years ago. And I'd like to share that with my board members and with everyone here, because it reminded me of this story in Reader's Digest, and there was a discerning and wise middle school math teacher, and one Friday this outstanding teacher gave her students a rather strange assignment for a math class. The assignment was to be completed that day before they were dismissed for the weekend, and she said, I want you to take out some notepaper, and I want you to list the names of all the other students in the class, and leave a space between each name. Then I want you to think about the nicest things that you could say about each of your classmates. I want you to write those things down on the line below their names. At the end of the class period, she collected all the papers, and over the weekend, she wrote the name of each student on a separate sheet of paper and listed what everyone in the class said about them. And on Monday, she gave each student his or her list. She then watched as each pupil read through their papers. She saw some who whispered to each other, I didn't realize that so-and-so liked me so much, or I never realized how much that meant to them when I did this or I said that. She watched as the atmosphere literally changed in the classroom. And even though she never discussed the papers openly with them in the class, she knew that what she had done had been a huge success. She could just tell by their smiles and their demeanor that the exercise had given them a really good positive feeling about themselves. They left school that day encouraged and feeling good, and she left that day knowing that her exercise had been a success. She accomplished exactly what she'd hoped that it would. And several years had passed before she would come to realize how successful it had been and how much of an impact it really made on those kids that day. Several years later, one of the students in that class, Mark Eklund, was tragically killed in war. Most of his former classmates, along with the junior high school math teacher, attended his funeral. At the luncheon following the service, Mark's father said to the teacher, "I have something I want to show you." He took out a wallet out of his pocket and said, "They found this on Mark when he was killed, and we thought that you might recognize it." Opening the billfold, he pulled out 2 worn taped sheets of notebook paper, which obviously had been folded and refolded time and time again. As Mark's dad had handed it to the teacher, she soon realized that it had been the list of the good things that Mark's classmates had written about him many years before when he was in her class. Mark's mother was standing by and said, "Thank you so much for doing that, for as you can see, our son treasured it." The teacher was deeply moved by that, but the story doesn't end there. To her amazement, each student there, Mark's classmates, spoke up, revealing that they too had kept those papers and that they too often read those comments. Some even still carried it with them in their wallets. Another student said, "It meant so much to me, I put it in my wedding album." And then another former student said, "I think we all saved our lists." And Mark took his lists filled with the right words, encouraging words, to his grave. I share this story to illustrate how powerful our words can be used to build, encourage, uplift, and strengthen others. In this holiday season, let us be mindful that our words can be as apples of gold and pitchers of silver. And with that, I'd like to wish all of our Enfield High School students, teachers, staff, and administrators a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all the best in 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Unghire.